Nothing could be more proper and feeling than her behaviour.
And the person who's going to introduce us to the charming but wicked Lord Melbourne is his biographer, Philip Ziegler. So, Philip, behind us is Queen Victoria's bedroom, and then just through here is Queen Victoria's sitting room, where I think Melbourne would have been waiting for her on the first morning of the first day of her reign. So let's imagine him on the carpet, kneeling down, kissing her hand, wearing his court uniform, and then getting to his feet and having a look at her and thinking, here's my task in life before me, do you think?
It was such a fascinating relationship because it was on two dimensions. The power angle was obviously of enormous importance. He represented power, and he was the voice of power. So she simultaneously saw him as this enormously influential figure who was essentially going to shape her reign, but also this very attractive young gentleman who she was slightly in love with.
It strikes me that a lot of the people who've written biographies of Melbourne seem to have a bit of a crush on him.
He was a very attractive man. He was also a shit. But he did have enormous charm, considerable wit, much more intelligence than most prime ministers have. A joy to not to have an affair with, that'd be very exhausting, but to have a relationship with would be great fun. One of his most celebrated remarks was, I generally find that nothing that is asserted is ever true, especially if it's on the best authority.
He sort of didn't really want to be Prime Minister, did he?
He didn't really want to go into politics at all. He didn't want to do anything at all. He wanted to loll around in the country and hunt in a rather dilettante way. And that was it. He was a singularly unambitious man. He got caught up in a great sort of wheel of events, and being obviously very eligible and intelligent and attractive, was exploited by other politicians and found himself, to his mild dismay, at the top.
Now, being a prurient kind of person as I am, I really want to know about his checkered history as a lover.
He was not remotely a hot, passionate person. He loved female company, but he was as concerned that it should be witty and intelligent and amusing as it should be sexy and beautiful.
Well, one of the bits of Melbourne's world that she really doesn't like, right, is this whole country house wigs socialising in and out of each other's bedrooms type stuff that went on. She's going to be very clear that it's going to be family values and morality at her court. But she needs some time to come to that conclusion, doesn't she?
I think she probably came to a conclusion pretty quickly. And in a way, Melbourne, who was an arch libertine in some ways, was, I think, extraordinarily influential in affecting her that way. But if Melbourne had set out to erode her values, he could in fact have done a great deal of damage. And he I'm quite certain, advisedly chose not to. This isn't my sort of thing, but it's the sort of thing the country needs.
He was a spanker, though, wasn't he? He was a bit more than just a dabbler.
He got a lot of fun out of sex, no doubt about that at all. The spanking is based on one or two completely trivial incidents.
Well, you wrote about them in your book about him, and I enjoyed those bits. It's the fact that it was the housemaids that makes me think, would I leave my 18-year-old daughter in the care of this man? He had the most attractive wife in England, but she had run off with the dashing Lord Byron, and then all their children died, and he was left a bit lonely.
Yes, I think his life was empty at a time when most people's life is at its fullest. Melbourne loved the young Queen Victoria, but with a very pure and a very sort of loyal love. He would have been genuinely shocked, I think, if anyone had suggested that an element of sexuality came into this relationship.
I have no doubt he is passionately fond of her, and her feelings are sexual, though she does not know it.
So once Victoria was dressed in a simple black morning dress because her uncle had just died, and once she'd had her meeting with Melbourne, she came down the stairs through that door and appeared in this room. And this is the Red Saloon where her accession council was going to take place. So imagine now, 18-year-old girl, fresh from the schoolroom, and there would have been hundreds of black-dressed, stern-looking elderly men judging her. It's like the patriarchy in action. They're all looking at this little girl who's only 18, and they were intrigued. There was going to be this great moment of judgment coming up. And did she shrink? No, she didn't. Melbourne had arranged everything brilliantly. She already knew that she should have confidence in Melbourne because she had been advised by her uncle Leopold, basically, to do whatever Melbourne said. And she did. I love this moment in her life. It's like she emerges like a swan from the duckling.
She went through the whole ceremony, occasionally looking at Melbourne when she had any doubt what to do. There was never anything like the first impression she produced. Very extraordinary and something far beyond what was looked for.
She not merely filled her chair, she filled the room.